Shit. Hello? Dang, I didn't have sound. That's hilarious. God. Can you guys hear me? That's hilarious. Well, you should be able to hear me now, hopefully. God. I think I fucked this first part of the video up. But I'm still not getting anybody telling me they're hearing me right now, so I don't even know if I have a I mean, I know my OBS has geez, I fucked up. Son of a bitch. I've been talking for 7 minutes. Oh, geez. Well, if you're live, great. If not, I'll edit it out afterwards. So, anyway, welcome back to Crypto Traders Arena. Jeez, what the hell was you just missed. The funny thing is, I just gave away the secret of all trading. I had this whole thing planned out and I was going to tell everybody the secret. And so I spent 7 minutes telling everybody the secret. And now, and you didn't hear it because I was on mute. But I can't remember it now, so I guess I'll have to tell you about it another time. Wow, that's wasn't my best work. So it looks like I do have sound now. So sorry to the people that are probably going like, what the fuck? But like I said, I'll hey Hanya. Sorry about that. Well, where was I? That's hilarious. I didn't notice that I must have muted my mixer here, and so and nobody was really saying anything in the chat, so anyhow, there is probably a little bit of a delay, unfortunately, but like 10 or 15 seconds maybe, or hopefully less. But I was just basically kind of rambling on about the week here that we're heading into. Of course, we're still on Tuesday, but it's a short week because of Thanksgiving, and I think probably a good week to just sort of sit on your hands, unless you just if you're in there trading, scalping, and day trading your setups, okay, fine. But really, in the bigger picture, it's just kind of maybe it's a good time to just sort of step back for the rest of the weekend and just kind of watch what happens, and then maybe make sure your bids are working, and hopefully we can get the kind of pullback needed to tag some of these W levels. Basically, that's a condensed version of what I just started saying be careful heading into the week. And then I Hanya, I had your bull up because then I was trying to make some sort of comparison to this guy, because I think this guy's getting ready for the holiday, but he's just like hanging out in the tea house, like cautious bull. Hey, DMAC. Yeah, sorry. So now everybody's telling me they couldn't hear me. And then I was talking about CZ and stuff, and you guys probably all know the stories. But crypto is wild as ever, man. So I was saying just about CZ though that well, of course, what a like I don't know, extortion job was was put on Binance, I guess, but 4.3 billion fine or something, and CZ has to step down. And I thought I saw that he just has to sit out for 3 years. I don't know if that's true. But and then I saw Carol mentioning that CZ's worth like 18 billion, and I was just thinking to myself that he's probably made most of that money just since 2016. So wow, what a world we live in, where a dude can go to 18 billion in like, less than a decade, half a decade. So wild. But of course, when you get too big for your britches, they always come after you. So that's why this guy's just chilling in the tea shop, laying low. That's like probably the way to go, right? You don't want to be too you don't want to stand out too much in old crypto. You want to just kind of hide out in the tea shop and trade your setups. But we'll see what happens with Binance. I mean, obviously, I don't trade on Binance. I don't know if you all are worried or not, but I guess it sounds like they can continue operating for the moment and probably keep operating. And um, but it is interesting that that news kind of comes out right now, and that's the kind of shit we should expect heading into Thanksgiving. That now I don't remember if I was saying this before or after I went off mute, but we should probably expect some wild action here. It's not uncommon for like the market to dump after Thanksgiving, perhaps, and maybe the general public gets a little too bullish right now. Of course, this news just dropped, but Bitcoin's not really. I mean, the market's down today, but I don't know if the news is you could see a lot of red on my screen here, but point being, I think just take it easy the rest of the week, and if you are trading, like Paul even was throwing in the comments there, this is where something like our THG algo strategy is good for, if you want to try to take advantage of a volatile market. There might be some wild price action through the rest of the week into the weekend, and yeah, THG, you might be able to zoom into the lower time frame and catch some trends and see some pretty epic trades. So people that are comfortable using THG, that's cool. And then I suppose if you're like a swing trader or something, I don't know. It's like I wouldn't be putting on any new trades in that way with stops and stuff. But more ideally is maybe we get a chance to buy. So and I was just mentioning Siacoin because it's off a lot today, but it's not getting into buy levels. But I do have a bunch of names that are kind of close to buy levels, and it's like hopefully there'll be a little bit of a pullback here if maybe we can get like the market rolling over into Thanksgiving here, and then we do start setting up the sort of lower prices into the end of the year that have been sort of the general. I don't know, if it's not like a call. I don't really like to want to make a call per se, but it's just I wouldn't be surprised to see prices sluggish into the end of the year, and I've been saying that's when I hope that a buy opportunity would present itself. And even something like Siacoin that kind of took off here and already almost got to like double levels for me. I could see this thing retesting this W here down near 78.6 sometime in the next couple of months. So while this one's a little too far gone, there's others that aren't as taken off yet. But point being, I'm hoping for this pullback to buy these W's really into the end of the year. So, and this is the reason I started talking about Siacoin right off the bat here is just it was such a perfect example of a W breakout after OBV divergence, like started like this, like the investor trade, in my opinion, or my setup. I don't know. This is my, if you're trying to buy bottoms on like weekly charts, this is like a great way to approach it. You sort of miss the first dead cat bounce. You don't try to trade that so much. You're actually just waiting for this bottom to come in where we're basically making a lower low. We kind of have like capitulation lows being put in and OBV divergences setting up. And so, and obviously good location in the whole cycle, like going back to the last cycle, clearly we're getting down into sort of old market structure. So that's the first part of this, location. But then sure enough, this did actually put in a weekly W. It's kind of like a ugly, tall one, but nonetheless, OBV divergence eventually came in. It looks like, I guess, confirmed on this candle here. And still, you miss that move, but you just wait patiently for this pullback. And then sure enough, I wouldn't fault anybody for just buying that level. There's a couple different ways to trade this. Like, when price came down in here and OBV div confirmed right here, you could start being like, all right, we're turning the corner. And we even had a double weekly W, which, I would love to buy that W if I could. In this particular case, that's like a pretty tall wick here shooting up, so you'd kind of have to readdress. You could kind of see the real level became the candle body highs here, and they almost, they broke it out, and then they did give it one check against those candle body highs. Not quite. That was like the retest of that W, but that was a tricky W to buy. But if you could buy it, great. But this is what I'm kind of talking about is more zoomed out, and you're trying to like call the end of a bear market, right? Like this is like this dead cat bounce could have turned into another lower high, I should say, and then we just could have crapped out here. But once it came in, we set a pretty good base off the W, so then it sort of gives you a nice opportunity here to think about hunting a bottom, because we did kind of put the bottom in here. And of course, you can see the ultimately the W. I mean, like I was saying, I wouldn't, anybody that just hit 88.6 or 78.6 in these weeks here, um, that seems, I like that too against the W, but and you can see the bounce. I don't know if doubles were had there. Actually, or no, not quite doubles on that bounce, but they'd be getting doubles now if you're in there buying 88.6 at 0026. Me personally, I just bought the W, but so anyway, long story short, location is good. OBV divergence came in here. The dead cat bounce sort of created the range to draw fibs against, and then hunting 78.6 on the pullback and waiting for a W is the last like sort of part of this setup. And this is a perfect example. If they closed it, nice candle body closed above the W, and then the next week they just tagged that level and it was just right off to the races here. It's a beautiful, perfect, like slow, conservative way to try to pick a bottom of the altcoin cycle. This one's perfect. And of course, we might range here for a while still. So like, this is the top of the range. My double level is just above the range, unfortunately. So it does have to take out the highs here a little bit to give me a double. But I could see still getting it here, no problem. But point being is there's probably gonna be more opportunities to buy pullbacks against here. But now we sort of have like a nice bottom to work from. So I mean, you can repeat the whole process all over again on stuff like this. And this one is a little too far gone, like I said, for the moment. But whether you keep your fibs here or draw new ones and start hunting reload zones as it pulls back against this W, then that's like the next trade. But I have a bunch more that are closer to the buy-in level, so I'll get into those. And also, if anybody has stuff they want to look at, you could maybe throw it in the chat and try to find something new and interesting to talk about. I mean, I don't want to get into all the news stuff because I don't care that much. And if anything, I was thinking about that and from a, I mean, like, I don't know. It's not that I don't care. It's just not going to impact my trading per se. So like, I don't really want to get too wrapped up in the news. And if anything, like like this setup I just talked about here is only caring about technicals, and that's what I like about it. Like, I don't really see any reason to get too in the weeds with like the emotional side of crypto, and it does seem to be pretty wild right now. There's just like a lot of crazy shit going on. But the cool thing about a technical setup like this is I just let the market tell me, right? Like, not to keep harping on this, but I love talking about this stuff because it's like, this is a perfect example of like all through this bear market, there's really no reason for me to get all worked up. I mean, even like FTX, when was that? That was, I guess that was here. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but when you think about the capitulation candle here in November of 2022, I don't know. It's like, should you have really been longing in here anyway? So it's like, I don't know if you should have been getting, if you were just trading a technical setup and prices were coming down right in here, sure, you have good location, but, and yeah, you don't quite have this part. That's what makes this part important. This kind of sets up the divergence. And the reason that's like the beginnings, it's like an early warning shot of a change, a reversal, right? So like, you almost need like a capitulation low and a bounce, and then another capitulation low and a bounce to even set this sort of environment up. And of course, right here, this is where like the smart money was like, okay, this is enough of down. And you can just see it in here, like the accumulation came in and pushed OBV up. And so anyway, point being is like, if you're following the news and trading the news in here, then you're probably getting sucked up into like whatever bull FOMO or whatever the hell was going on in the news cycle. When really you could just have been looking at this, and you have really no business paying any attention to this, in my opinion, until this W came in, and it just didn't come in very well. But like, that's why I like buying this pullback here. But you could have just stayed out all this and not even gotten too in the weeds. And so like, then fast forward to right now, heading into Thanksgiving, it's like, do you really want to be a buyer of Siacoin right here, heading into the weekend, crazy event, and you're like going to lever up and, get liquidated in some crazy price action because you're chasing this uppy market? It's like the market's telling us right here to not do that. And, it's telling us that the potential bottom is in, so we should be, looking for panic dumps down into the good buying locations. So I'm not going to get too worried about like all the craziness in the world as far as this trading goes. Um, and that's why I prefer to focus on technical setups, and just, the cool thing about technical setups is that it just sort of gives you reasons to act that aren't emotional. They're not involved with like your thinking, or you're not trying to figure out the market, or trying to like, figure out all these variables. So another random, but all day I've been thinking about teaching people to trade. And so I'm probably going to rant about this a little bit, because I've been, we have our Capio 1, training course rolling, our first term of that, and then we're firing up another term in January, and so I've just been really thinking about like what it means to teach somebody to trade. It might be one of the hardest things to teach that I know of, because of a lot of reasons, because trading's such a behavioral and emotional thing that that a person has to sort of make that journey on their own a bit. So you can't really, it's hard to teach that part, and that's a huge part of it. So I was thinking a lot about that, and now I'll jump a little bit, because has anybody ever heard of I pulled it up here, Turtle Trading, Market Legend. It's on Investopedia. You can read about it anywhere, but I don't know. Have anybody in here ever read about the turtle traders? I think they're in like the New Market Wizards books, those old trading books. I've never really read too much of those. I've like skimmed through them a bit. But these dudes, in 1983, these two commodity traders guys made a bet. One said that you could teach people to trade, and another person said you're just like born with it, and you can't. It's not a learned skill. And turns out they could teach people. The end of the bet was that they did pretty good. But even more fascinating, I saw this guy Dennis, Richard Dennis. Yeah, Hanya's saying love the turtles. Yeah, this is a cool story, and I've listened to some. This is like, then there's some of the turtles became, some of the people that were hired became like pretty big traders. Like there's this one like trend following trader guy I follow on Twitter, who's an old turtle, and he's like in his 70s now. But anyway, if you don't know about the turtles, go read about it. But it was just a bet about, can you teach people to trade? But the funny thing is, I know you can teach people to trade, but it's like, I was thinking in my head about that a lot today. Somebody taught me to trade. I learned from the Rational Investor, and I didn't know anything about trading before I met Brian. But like my next point still holds true, because it's like, I also it's like you can learn to trade for sure, but you have to also be able to clean up your own behavior. So I started thinking like, behavioral issues are the problem that traders have the most. I think it's even setups can be taught. You can copy somebody else's setup. But if you can't get your behavior in check, then you're never going to make it. So it's like, can you really teach that? I don't know how to teach somebody to manage their emotions or become consistent in their behavior and almost robotic. But yeah, anyway, the turtles is a cool story, because like they used their own money, and they went out and made this bet, and like put an ad in the paper and just started hiring people, and they brought them in. They taught them a pretty simple, I don't remember the exact strategy, but it was a trend following strategy. So it was just like buying a breakout and then trying to ride the trend, kind of like our THG for that matter. So it's like, I could argue with THG. We could, everybody has access to THG that's in our group. And we know it works, definitely works. But it's like, if we gave this, you could almost even tell everybody the same trade, and I bet you wouldn't have 100% the same trade. It's like if we, gave 100 people THG and then told them at 7 a.m. or whatever that the long is on, put your entry at X on Bitcoin or whatever. And like, I wonder how a lot of people, and then fulfill the whole trade as directed, like trail your stop as directed without making any emotional decisions and exiting early, or, panic selling or something. Everybody would have different results, even if that's what their bet was, basically. but it's kind of fun stuff. And so like, it's just been kind of turning the wheels of my brain about, like, how do you teach somebody to trade? Of course, I have some experience doing it. I've done it for, last several years at least. And I also kind of have, I mean, I see it as an interesting challenge and like, uh, something I want to figure out. And so I've been, I've just been trying to wrap my mind around that because it's not just about teaching technical analysis. Of course, we like um, to do that part and teach technical analysis and stuff too. But there's just so much more to it, and it's such a journey in itself that each person has to experience for themselves. So it's like, if anything, I don't think you can teach it in the same way that like like school is, because trading has to be self-directed in a lot of ways, or in all ways almost. It's like you can't. It's not like you're teaching somebody to read where it's just like the teacher's directing it and saying, read this sentence, this is how you do it. And it's trading's kind of not like that. It's like you almost have to just be coached through it, and you have to just sort of jump in and start learning from all angles, because there's like, it's not just a intellectual pursuit. So you have to kind of like learn the intellectual side of it, but also train your brain to think in terms of probabilities and think statistically and think like a coin flipper that's actually just going to go and execute in the market and be able to like flip the coin a bunch of times. Like you have to learn that part too. And then you also just have to kind of like take care of yourself. Like, can you really even be a good trader if you're not like taking care of yourself? Like, I mean, I can have a hard time with this. I know, like, if you're not living a lifestyle that's sort of conducive to having good outcomes, that'd be one way to put it. How do you teach somebody that? Like, how do you teach somebody to, like, being a trader? One of the most important things is consistency, right? Like, there's like different types of consistency in trading. Like, one, you have to show up at your desk every day or however often that your plan says. That's like the obvious consistency part. But there's also like emotional consistency, where it's like, if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you could cause yourself a lot more damage by going and trading. So it's like, can I teach somebody how to not do that? I don't think so. So like, uh anyway, just these are the things, or I shouldn't say I don't think I can. I actually think you can teach that in a way, but it's not like the same as like elementary school, because we're also all adults. We're all going to do what we do. We all are going to sort of carve our path. And so I think actually the trading, like the learning journey, needs to be more like that, like a journey. It's like more like we'll just try to expedite the process for you and sort of use our experience and our past knowledge and what we know about this stuff. Just, we have to teach that for sure. Like all the technical stuff, all the how to build a plan, what a setup is and how setups work, and how do you hunt for setups? How do you like, vet a setup? That stuff, it's like everybody has to learn it for themselves, but like, we can speed that part up a lot. And then like while you're learning that, you have to simultaneously also like sort of be coached along. So it's like more of a coach than a teacher that's like just trying to um just sort of help you build that consistency, I suppose, and help you hold you accountable. And also just sort of, I sort of just sort of live by example, or like teach by example, I guess is the only way you can do it, I think. So, with our school, it's like that's what we're trying to do, is set up more of like a training program where it's like, I've said in the past, where it's like it's almost like you get a job. It's like this kind of like, we're not hiring you, you're going to have to use your own money and all that stuff. But it's like, I like to think of it kind of like this trade turtles experiment, where it's like, um, we're hiring you. We're going to like teach you just like we were a McDonald's, and we're going to teach you how to make the burgers, because we want the burgers to be the same every time. So we have a process that we're trying to implement consistently over time, like repeating the same behavior over and over again. And we're going to train you to do that too. So that's kind of, I think, what sort of when I think about how to teach somebody to trade it always falls back on kind of that. It's like more of a coaching thing. And then of course the coach always knows how to draw divergences and stuff. So it's like there's that part too where you gotta like, so partly I have to hype you up and like get you excited about it. Then I have to also show you the technical and intellectual parts of it. And then hopefully I can live by example by making a couple of decent calls here and there. Anyway, holy shit, that's a ramble. So that's my pitch for our school, I guess. Because I suppose that's my marketing talk for we are trying to get people to, join up with us on this journey of us trying to build like just kind of like a tank of badass traders. I mean, the gladiators, that's kind of the sort of tongue in cheek, fun gladiator thing. We're trying to create people that are just killer traders that also just work with us and trade with us. And hopefully some of them will probably teach people as well. So, if you're interested in, to be fair, we are more like we're focused on teaching trading execution. So it's like if you want to learn how to execute trades in the market, then you're going to have to sort of at least have some of the things I talked about earlier, like some desire to be consistent. You're going to have some time. I think for the Capio one, probably a minimum of like 3 or 4 hours a week. And then of course, just because it is a self-directed journey, that could turn into as many hours as you want. And of course it takes a lot of hours to learn how to do anything. But, so if you are interested in learning how to trade, we're trying to teach people to sort of have the qualities of a professional trader, which of course in the most basic level is somebody that's taken setups consistently in the market and has identified an edge in the market where they can sort of find enough trades per month that fit into like the time that they're like, if they're only trading 5 hours a week, they have to build a trading plan that allows them to execute a reasonable amount of trades. And that's sort of the complicated part of figuring out where you're going to go execute. But if you're not willing to put some work in several different areas, part of that's a lifestyle kind of thing. Like you have to kind of sort of get in the vibe of the trader lifestyle a little bit. So that's definitely a requirement, but that's, if you have that, then come and link up with us and we'll do our best. Between Paul and I think we can offer two really interesting insights because we're different in personality and in like our approach, and I think that's really helpful for people too. So anyway, so anyhow, the cool thing is at least I wasn't on mute, but I've also just talked for like 20 minutes about stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just having fun here. It's a kind of a weird week to be sure. I also think a huge part of the, it's like this is the sitting on my hands kind of talk, I guess. Like I'm not in any huge hurry to go and do anything today. It's like, just obviously on the daily, just today, you can see there's a lot of red. So it's, the market kind of ran into a little bit of sort of, pre-Thanksgiving sidewaysy downy after being pretty uppy here for the last little while. And so maybe we'll look at some like things that are buyable, in my opinion, as maybe a deeper pullback happens. And first I'll say that, I mean, the key thing that we've been talking about kind of for a while, or at least I have been, is Bitcoin just sort of still kind of flirting with 38.2 here. So this is kind of like a perfect place almost to see some wild price action for Thanksgiving. Up or down, I could see a lot of, we see this, the orange box has a lot of room to still have a lot of activity in here before we've even like resolved this 38.2. But I mean, to be a buyer of Bitcoin heading right up into this resistance here isn't really, that's like what they're going to try to get your family to do at Thanksgiving. So be wary of that. Like this is the exact kind of place where it's like, all right, let's suck some people in here, some of the public in here before we dump down into maybe levels, even just down into like 31 or 2000 against the old highs here. We could see some sort of volatile liquidate everyone that went long over Thanksgiving. So it's just not the best place to get super rambunctiously bullish. Look at OBV here. I think it's fascinating to just be mindful of the fact that OBV is in a bearish weekly divergence. Now, confirmed, I don't know if confirmed can be said. I mean, it was confirmed through here, like on the first sort of new high, or the last new high, I should say. They put a divergence in that actually confirmed down into support here, though, against the Head and Shoulders bottom. So that did confirm, but now that's sort of just part of this bigger potential divergence, in my opinion, that hasn't broken. Like, there's nothing broken about it, but it's interesting to see that, if I do see like M's and OBV and potential divergences, I have to at least be mindful, especially when it's just coming up into 38.2. So we'll see. We're still waiting on any kind of real top here. There's not like a weekly top here. And if you look at the daily, there's actually just this like pre-Thanksgiving ugly price action, I'd say. Like, I mean, you can see how choppy it's already being, and there's like some sort of little range here carved out. So like, just let this all kind of, whatever happens in here. That's fine. Unless you're like a really sharp trader, then you're probably gonna get chopped around here this weekend. We'll see. Um, but like, again, if maybe this could turn into an M here, I kind of see a little M if we do start taking out, this like 35K high or low, sorry. Then maybe there's an M here that maybe does create a dip down against these old highs, and that could be like an opportunity to buy some of these things that I think are viable. Like, let me just look at my list here a little bit. So like 1 inch, I noticed. Well, and of course, do I still look at these on Binance, or is Binance in trouble now? I don't know. I'm just kidding. I like to just use Binance for the charts for the most part, but I mean, you can kind of start seeing the pullbacks is all I'm really getting at. Like, it's hard for people to, I mean, this hasn't gone that far, to be fair, but it's just got a nice W and OBV and W in price here, and it looks like it could easily recheck this W. So things like this is what I'm looking to buy here if Bitcoin can roll over at 38.2 into the end of the year. That's the whole kind of conversation. So like, there's one, for example. This is like a smaller cap one that I've sort of talked about a lot lately, but this one's just sitting right here. ALCX, very similar to this, has that kind of OBV divergence I'm talking about here, where we sort of set up a nice divergence, nice strong OBV point and higher here, and confirmed divergences like back here. And now this, to be fair, kind of a weird looking W, and maybe like candle body highs are a better location to hunt, like around there. But this is the kind of thing, I like that little W. I like trying to take shots against that level. I'm just going to hammer through some really quick because I want to just make up some time for all my rambling. I want to show some good ideas. ARPA is another one, which, so the thing about ARPA is, one, I like the price action through here, and I like that this range was established, and now we've come back down against 78.6, and we're just, we've put in a W right against 78.6, and we're basically sitting right there. And you can see how OBV's been, and divergence actually it's not really in divergence, to be honest, because that would have been the last place we could have seen divergence there. I mean, it's in divergence right here, though. That move to new low is definitely in confirmed OBV divergence, and plus OBV is just pointing straight up. But the only thing I'll say about this one, I've never loved how like there's a lot of downside back here. It's like it seems to be on some sort of like bottoming kind of trajectory here, where it's making higher lows. Technically, I mean, it has made higher lows all through here. Even that low didn't quite take out that one. But to be fair, it's like because of that, like there's more. This one isn't quite all the way down at the bottom, so if it does crap out, then there's obviously that downside risk. But man, that's a nice little W to buy. It's just sitting right there. I mean, it's had a couple weeks now of just sort of playing with that level, but I could easily see this thing taking off. If crypto can keep any sort of momentum behind it. So there's one. Now, to be fair, if Bitcoin rolls over hard, this thing might just crap out hard. But there's one that I think looks pretty good. This one's CeeLo. I think it might be named something else on Binance. Or I don't know if it's even on Binance. It's actually not, but CGLD. Let's see why I had this one in my list here. I mean, you can see the W. Not, I mean, this is kind of like, so this is a good example of sort of my bigger picture view, I guess, right now is just, can we get pullbacks against W's into the end of the year? And it looks like this is a W, and it looks like this is a pullback into it. So, to be fair, the reload zone's a little bit below the actual W I've laid out here, 0.485, and then the reload zone starts like 0.47, but it's getting pretty damn close. And I like to just, you guys can figure out where you want to bid in there. You know what I like. I basically am either hitting the W or I'm hitting one of those fib levels, 61.8 or 78.6 or 88.6, with less of a focus on 61.8. But it is getting more into the area of me being like, I think we're well enough into a potential bottom in the bigger picture to start hitting, like something like this. I'm okay with just buying that level there, even though it's just a hair above the reload zone. But that's me. I'm not saying, because you also know I like to nibble in, but this one has like plenty of upside. You can see how the random bottom's coming in, and OBV put in, it didn't actually confirm the divergence because we'd have to take out that high there, but that's that same kind of capitulation divergence that I'm looking for. Like as price came down and marked that sort of FTX. I mean, in this case, it wasn't, the bottom's over here, but there was still just that nice, sort of capitulation bottom here. And we start putting in that OBV div there. And then, of course, we now have more potential OBV divs on the newer price action. But it's just that rounded bottom that I'm looking for, and a nice weekly W here. And you can just see price coming right down to check it here. So we'll see, like, hopefully, I mean, if this thing's a bull, price see a bounce somewhere in here. So, looks like there's not too many comments. Nobody's throwing me any wild ideas. Oh, there are a couple ideas in there, actually. NKN, which I was just looking at that one the other day. Geez, I can't believe I was on mute for like 7 minutes. God. Of course, I'm just up here doing my best. I mean, I appreciate the people that are in here listening and taking the time to listen to me ramble on. I know I go kind of long. I don't know how to shorten it, but I do think I cover a lot of ideas, and I try to mix in some okay ideas with my rants about various things. And I kind of like talking about sort of the mechanics of trading and all that stuff about teaching people to trade and stuff. So I'm just kind of having fun saying my thoughts. I didn't even really prepare any of that. I'm just kind of talking. It's fun for me. So hopefully that people find it a little bit informative at the very least, or maybe entertaining at the very least. But we got some requests. I have a couple other requests, and then I have more of these kind of names. I mean, I just am thumbing through some of these. There's a lot that look like this. Like maybe I'll pick a couple more here really quick. Comp is one that we've been talking about in like the New York session here and there a little bit of late. And you can see the same kind of thing. It's just W coming down into the W level here. Haven't seen too much of a bounce so far this week. And we're a little bit above the reload zone, just like that last one. So the reload zone is just a hair below. OBV doesn't look as appealing to me in this. It's trying to turn here, but there's no real like divergences or anything. So be mindful of that. But I do like the bottom that's trying to come in. Actually, I would really like to see a divergence here on that move to a low there that's not there. So that might be a little warning sign that this isn't quite ready. Maybe better to wait for a real W and OBV. And then this is sort of a steep W, but it's there. I mean, I've already bought this W here anyway, but you guys do whatever you like. But nonetheless, it's just kind of just sitting there. But I mean, $50 basically. A double's $100, just kind of up against this last kilo. So I don't know. Seems like a pretty easy double if things can start turning to the upside here in the next year. And we'll look at, okay, a couple of names here. Like I'll look at NKN was one that's in the chat. Guess Yeah, this one, I banged a double out on Qcoin here, and then I got removed from Qcoin. I think so. Maybe do I have that chart somewhere? Yeah, this is my Qcoin chart. I don't remember exactly. I think I bought that W and got that double. But anyway, go back to that Coinbase chart. So I do have a one double on NKN. And then I bought it on Coinbase here too. Just, I'm just fishing to rebuy that double. The W came in back here. So like the trade actually did come in back here on this W with OBV, nice, solid, strong OBV uppy. And the divergence actually was in from like back here, but there's also divergences in that little down move right there. You can see OBV put in a W right there. And nice breakout check of the reload zone and then instant double, really, if you're buying against that W. So that's kind of what I want to do now. Like, if you can imagine all of these names I'm showing you now, like if you were just back here and you missed the move here, then you're looking to buy like 78.6s and 88.6s. You can see how they just ran it down into 78.6 and 88.6 almost on the money there, and then doubled it right afterwards, I think. Yeah, 88 up to, or 08. Yeah, anyway, double into this move and then right back down here into reload zones. And now I don't think you can argue there's a weekly W. I mean, that's not really a W. There is still this weekly W that's, funny enough, still holding the lows. And I suppose when you just kind of zoom out, it looks generally kind of bottomy through here. Lots of like little pops to the upside. And so, yeah, I like it, but I kind of like it down where I'm long here from 0926. I don't really like chasing it up here. This is the exact kind of thing, here by next week, could easily see tags down against these levels again, but there's no W there yet. I do see OBV continuing to be fine and actually has just recently started putting in more W's here. It's just, I'd rather see like a nicer weekly W. And then to be fair, like all of these, and I always say like 50% off haircut could happen any moment. You can see how like down against the old structure, like there's a little head and shoulders kind of bottom back here. That's kind of a cool, I guess it's like this. It's kind of big. It's like, we were talking about head and shoulders a little earlier today, but that's pretty nice head and shoulders sort of looking bottom. Kind of looks like the right side's lower though. But anyway, without getting off track, that's the old structural bottom. So that's all the way down at 03. So at 09 here, well, sorry, at 11 here, it could easily have to go a little deeper here if things can't keep it together here in the general market. But I like it. I mean, I don't know. In general, I'll probably just wait for W, I'd say. And then it's funny, Hanya, you're saying that the turtle story encouraged you to learn to trade. That's awesome. Constantine, it is both informative and entertaining. Well, that's good. At the very least, I want to at least try to be funny sometimes. Jeez. I don't know if I'm coming with the joke. Oh, Poloniex. Fuck, I was thinking about the Poloniex troll box today and just laughing because we were talking about something in the New York session, and I don't know if people remember those troll boxes. But man, they're hilarious. Just the absolute most degenerate people talking away in like Poloniex while like trading Poloniex margin. Where you had to borrow, like it was you had to you could have I remember they had the lending, you could lend out for anyway, that was fun stuff. But man, you don't see Poloniex too often. But I did see recently that Justin Sun said he like found the guy that hacked Poloniex for 110 million or whatever the number was. I saw that like a week ago. So another funny never-ending crypto crazy stories. Nevertheless, Serum's not something that I can trade. Wow, that's a kind of interesting looking. There's not a lot of trading going on down here, but man, there's a lot of upside. Like hell, it's up like, I can't even count those numbers. That's up a double. Well, that's like a triple up off the lows or something. I I mean, this is like one of those things that's like, I mean, well, first and foremost, like structurally, it's hard to work a setup off of a chart that looks like this. There's just not really, I mean, it's just so thin. But that doesn't mean you couldn't take a punt down here. I mean, I think you're a little late now, but man, it's just like, you could see how even just that crazy wick right there was a huge move. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much Plenix. I mean, is it any? I thought this was on Binance. I guess not. Or wait, it is. Did I miss something? Serum Premium Index. I guess it is on Kraken. Am I looking at? I mean, I'm looking at Serum. Huh. I don't know. Maybe if I. Oh wait, that's because I have USD in there. That's not really on Binance. Funny enough, it looks a little. The chart's cleaner on MEXC here. It's also not up as much. Are these the same thing? Because that's not up. Huh. Well, I don't know if I was looking at the same thing there. That other chart looked like hell. I mean, it was up like 3x this week. This doesn't look. Oh, it was probably an old. That was like this candle. So maybe that Plenix chart's dead or something. This looks like a better chart anyway, but this one at least has come back down against the lows, and the same thing still applies. I don't know if there's really a W here. It's kind of a V bottom. But man, if you're just trying to take like some Hail Mary bet, I don't see what would be wrong with, trying to get long here. Probably closer to these like that candle body low, that big weekly candle. Just because of the upside. But I mean, there's no technical setup there. I mean, it's trying to sort of, I don't even think that's a W here. Well, there's a W there actually. So I don't know. I mean, it's not it's not my kind of technical setup. I'll say that. But as far as just trying to bottom fish for something that could move a lot down the road, it seems reasonable. OBV itself is like now started. I mean, you can kind of see the volume ramping up as prices coming into this bottom here. So maybe there's like, dare I call them smart money? I don't know what you call whales. Whoever's the serum whales, like, are they coming in and starting to put the bottom in right here? It kind of looks like they might be. Oh yeah, Hanya Mexi SRM. So that's the one you want to look at. I mean, there's a little W in there, just a tiny little W, and it's like I mean, either way, you can see like it's not a real W. So of course, it all comes down to like rules and are you going to follow your rules and what are you trying to do here? And if your rule is that you have to wait for a real W, then I don't know. You could maybe justify that tiny little one in there, but this wider one's not a real W. So I'd like to see that real wide one be a. Well, it looks pretty good. This, this looks like a shit coin that either will, if the rest of the market can hold it together, then this will probably bottom around here. If Bitcoin rolls over hard, this will probably make a new low. I mean, there's no previous range to see back here, but well, it's way up here, I guess. But even a move back to that opening candle, that's like at $1.94, and this thing's only 4 cents. Shit. So, I mean, if for some sort of move back up against that in a bull run is totally feasible. So we'll see, though. Definitely looks like a kind of a shit coin, though. VGX, that's a. Oh, hey, Richard John is saying it's been months since I've looked at crypto. Well, hey, we're still here. It's been, it's been many months since I haven't looked at crypto, I think. But welcome back. That's cool. I'm glad you're. What brought you back? VGX did. Is that Voyager or something? That looks interesting. It's another one that's just. I mean, it's cheap at the bare minimum, right? It's. If you just feel like taking some gambles here, like this is the kind of thing I'd want to bet on. I'd imagine if I was just going to try to buy something down cheap and look at potential upside here. I mean, it's 14 cents right here. And of course, even just moves back against, the double level would be like against these lows here basically. And, if you're in here buying around here. Oh, you've just been working your ass off, huh? Well, yeah. Good to see you back. I was gonna say this is a W here, but they kind of FU'd the lows there, so we don't have a real W there. And we do have like a potential big W that they like sort of tested the highs of the range here and couldn't get above it. And then it's just sitting probably in like reload zones, you know, if we just draw maybe from, I guess the highs right there, but you know, so it's sitting at like Mountain Man basically right now. So I don't know if there's any really real rush here, but I could see if I feel like is this Voyager? I feel like it is, but I thought they were in some trouble kind of after that whole FTX fallout. But anyway, it's in general I like it. I mean, this isn't. I'm still kind of in like I want to buy W's, and I don't think I see a real W here, so I'm not in a huge rush, and I don't think I can even. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can trade it too easily. But I mean, I could see taking a punt from down. You know, probably just look for reload zones down here. But if you want more confirmation, I'd probably wait for a real W. They're getting bailed out, huh? So, well, that's probably good. Oh, I also had a request to look at some stocks. Geez, but I'm coming up on an hour. I got a little. I mean, I just don't want to go on too long, mostly because I imagine it's annoying for people. But I don't mind taking a little bit more time here. Somebody had asked about crypto stocks, and it's the same conversation. It's like hopefully we can get a pullback to buy some of these things. I mean, the one that's going to bug me is Coinbase. I wanted to buy Coinbase again, and I don't know if I'll get another chance. Actually, where's my list here? Yeah. Wow, look at all the red though, man. Everything is red today now. So, and some pretty big. I mean, well, this Kuji's up like zillions of percent or whatever. That thing went insane. So, I mean, it's just pulling back a little bit after just an epic move. I didn't trade this one, but man, what a nice example of like reload zone tags, you know. Big old W comes in and they just dipped it into the reload zone, let people have one more chance to load up. And then just launched it. Shit. But anyway, point being there's a lot of red here. And crypto stocks look kind of red too, but I'll just I mean, I think buying miners, I even saw a guy tweeting about miners today, and I think he's totally right. I mean, he's talking about the Bitcoin miners and how like I think he said Riot did like a 61x while Bitcoin did 10 or whatever, you know, it's like or more than 10, but point being like wildly outperformed Bitcoin. You know, you can see the Riot move from last time was just like insane back here from, you know, from less than $1 to $78. And you know, then his next point was like this is kind of the time you would want to buy miners typically was like, you know, 6 months before the Bitcoin halving. I suppose 6 months before the last halving. I don't remember when the last halving was actually, so I don't know how to find that. We could maybe look at that. But you know, the trick with these, like Riot, I want to buy, Mara, I want to buy, but I haven't. I missed both of them back here because I never really got like my setup here. Never really saw like a solid weekly W, you know, back in this area. I mean, did sort of get potential divergences in OBV, but so I missed that first rally. And then, you know, most recently brought these back down into Mountain Man. So I'm just still patiently waiting. I'm going to try. I don't see a real structural W back here. I do know things like Riot could come off a lot more if things roll over. So I don't see any huge rush to like chase it right here or anything. I'm going to just, you know, much like crypto, I'll just try to get averaged in here about 78.6, which is what, $7. That seems like a good start. And the same thing for Mara. So those are the two sort of bigger miners. Almost the exact same charts. They look very similar. And they did do like 3X's off the lows last time around. I mean, this one went from 350 up to, whoa, $20. So kind of annoying that I didn't partake in that. But I still am a big believer in these Bitcoin miners. So those are two of the bigger ones. And then so I don't see real weekly W's yet here, so there's no rush in my opinion, but I am willing to just kind of nibble on these two if they can come closer down to 78.6. And then there's a couple other miners that are like this Wolf is kind of more of a piece of shit one probably. And I did take a nibble here. I just couldn't resist just kind of buying down here in below 78.6. And, I also didn't trade this here. But anyway, so did take a nibble here somewhere in there, like a buck, I guess $1.21 here. But I don't see anything in my setup here. There's no like OBV looks like shit, and this thing looks heavy as hell. So I'm a little more suspect about this one. This is like an eco-conscious Bitcoin miner or something silly. I don't know. Green energy maybe. Terra Wolf it is. And just no bottom yet here, but man, tons of upside. So like, I don't know what they were doing back here in 2021, but either way, it was I'm sure there was probably splits or something, but man, $45. It's $1 now. Well, $1.20. And so doubles are inside of the range here. Just you could bang a double out here just on a test of the this range is all the way up at $4. So there's plenty of room to get doubles. So I definitely want to keep this one in the list, but it's not W'd yet. So, but those are like, that's another miner. This CLSK is like one of the prettiest charts, I think, and it just hasn't given me an opportunity to buy it back. I did get involved in this one and got a double here. It didn't do as big of a move as like Riot and Mara, and this one's also like Clean Spark. It's also like a kind of like green energy Bitcoin miner. But I mean, you can kind of see how it's like a weird scenario here. You can't really buy it right here, in my opinion, and it's just coming into the trendline resistance, and it's above the reload zone. And my bid's down here, just basically at the same level I bought originally, 316. So, and I also have some more bids, 88.6, and then I do think there's like a little level down here on this gap that's interesting, like way down at 210. But you could see the nice wide W, and then we've come down and check it. So I'm not surprised that they're kind of trying to W, maybe even right here. The problem is that's not really like a reversal, like sort of a range trade. It's a little bit too high. So like maybe even like you could hunt continuation trades here if we get like W's on the other side of the trend line, but that's going to be kind of like with a stop type thing, not like a no stop investment strategy, little lady risk management. So that'd be a different thing. So hopefully, I think patiently, if I wait, I'll still get filled, and maybe that W ends up coming down in closer to 78.6 around 315 or whatever down the road. So I'm not in any rush here either. So I can't buy Mara yet, I can't buy Riot yet, and I can't buy a CLSK. Well, I have bids on this, but I haven't. If it comes down there, I'll buy it. So those aren't really that. I mean, I don't know. Like, to be fair, like if you're just trying to time the whole market and stuff, and you're going to try to hold that's up to you. Like I could see people just saying, fuck it, I'm not going to sweat like a little bit. I mean, that's 25% though. I think that's chasing, but point being is there's a lot of upside in these. So at some point you got to figure out when you're going to pull the trigger. If this is like a plan that you want to work, like I want to work this crypto stock trading plan. So, I just don't particularly like the location on these three. So I sort of at the moment still prefer this BTCM, which hasn't quite gotten its shit together, but this is another little miner, huge upside, and is in a reload zone. I mean, I've talked about this one before, but unfortunately it does have this kind of weird price action back here with the gap and like a lot of downside into that gap. So it might be like sniper bids down against $1.80 or 90 down here against that gap, or sort of appealing to me. I have like an average cost of, I guess, 305 here, so I'm a little bit underwater at the moment. I'm a little bit above the reload zone, but I still have room to add, so I'm just kind of like gonna keep adding to this thing and try to get averaged in somewhere down near 78.6 if I can. And then of course it has like a shit ton of upside, so I like this one a lot, and it's buyable, but the fact it's been like relatively weak when the other ones were so strong, I don't know what that means exactly. I kind of see this as I mean, it is. I think it's based in Singapore or something. They have a hardware manufacturing business where they make ASIC miners, and then they also mine, and they also kind of mine a ton of Doge and Litecoin. I think, if I remember correctly. Um, and it's just intriguing me. This one, of course, also the one, and I don't know, maybe I'm repeating myself. I can never remember who I've talked to these to about these, but like this one looks really appealing to me in terms of they're actually on the books. It's not that bad. They have like a 1.4 price to cash and less than one, 0.61 price to book. Those are really good numbers uh, to suggest that this is a decent value purchase, in my opinion, compared to like Riot, which I'll show you, like Riot or Mara. See how they have like no cash, like they're at 5.22 price to cash. And really, I want that number to be less than two and closer to one or less than one. And same with this price to book. I mean, the price to book's not that bad. That's probably including their Bitcoin, which is cool. Actually, the price to book's pretty good on Riot. It seems like that's changed. I wonder if they released probably their last earnings. Yeah, I guess earnings was right here. I wonder what it says. It'd be cool to go look at their Bitcoin holdings and stuff. There's not enough time for all that kind of stuff. But point being, like, I like that BTCM. This is starting to look a little better. They must have reported their Bitcoin holdings or something, because I think that number went down as the book value of the company went up or something. But still, they don't have a lot of cash. So they don't have debt, though. So that's pretty good. They don't really have very much debt. But anyway, that BTCM looks kind of interesting to me relative to like Bitcoin and Mara. So, I mean, I want to take a little bit of a nibble on all of them, to be fair. That's my plan's more just to buy all of these. But those are like, I guess those are all the miners I have right now: BTCM, Mara, Riot, CLSK, Wolf, and HUD. I didn't talk about HUD, but HUD's actually getting into kind of interesting level, and I've just been nibbling on it. Very similar price action to like Riot and Mara, but like as it comes down against 78.6 is just a little bit lower at 156, and it's at like $2 here now or something, or $1.90. So it's getting close to 78.6. No real W's though, to be fair, but I'm, just kind of going with the flow with crypto, hopefully bottoming here. Then I kind of want to just buy these as they bottom. So those are some. Coinbase is kind of frustrating to me. Of course, I did get a double off, and I was hoping to kind of reload down in like the $49 area, but they haven't dipped it down here. And this Head and Shoulders does seem to be sort of active off of this right shoulder here. So it looks like it wants to break out here. But to be fair, this trend line resistance is sitting up here. So maybe they shoot it up here and then check the neckline of the Head and Shoulders. And then there's probably a lot more time to bottom on the other side of this trend line. So I don't think there's any... I don't know. I'm not going to FOMO into Coinbase here. I don't see any point to that, but it is kind of annoying me that it's not really offering up any potential buy opportunities. And strangely, I suppose Coinbase is probably happy about Binance getting kind of fucked with. I don't know. And I do notice Coinbase becoming more and more like Wall Streety feeling. It's weird. It's like they're launching a future. Well, they've had it launched, but it seems like they're making a little bit more headway on it. I just don't see it as tradable, but they have these I think it's Bit. Let's see. Nano Bitcoin futures, FairX. This is actually Coinbase, this FairX exchange. And you can trade these Nano Bitcoin futures, which in theory sounds fun, but seems pretty thin. I was looking at this earlier today. It's like, I don't know if you can day trade. This is a 5-minute chart. I don't really like to see like little gappy gaps and like kind of funny, that kind of price action. I suppose that was in the overnight. And then back here, I don't know what's going on back here. I don't know if this is like, I guess it's the November contract, so maybe nobody was trading this back here, these thin parts. But anyway, my point is Coinbase just seems to be getting more and more Americanified, or whatever you want to call it. They're definitely taking over crypto in the US, if they didn't already have control. But they have this FairX exchange, Bitcoin... I forgot what they called it exactly, but they have an ETH one and a Bitcoin one, and it's traded on the, I guess well, I don't remember exactly, so I don't want to get into that, but like, it's a legitimate US sanctioned futures markets. So that's really cool. Like I would love to take advantage of it down the road, but when I look at the fee structure and I look at the thin trading, it seems kind of like there's no point to me to not. I might as well just keep trading CME products like the ES, or like I like the Russell 2000. There's just better fees and more liquidity. So I don't really see any huge reason to do this, but it's still kind of cool that they have an actual futures market now. And they have had this for like a year. It just seems like they're starting to link it to Coinbase, I've noticed, because they've like offered, I can like sign up for it or whatever if I want through Coinbase and trade it through Coinbase's platform. I could also access this through my TradeEvade TradeEvade account. So anyway, damn, that's another tangent. Jeez. Yeah, Coinbase, Circle, and BlackRock. Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't. I mean, it's kind of like, unfortunately, like even with Binance, I mean, they totally just went after Binance. I'm not saying Binance was legit or not legit. I don't even know, or I'll never know the legalities that they circumvented or what. Not even really commenting on that, but clearly, like the government just went after them hard to prove a point, and then somehow, like, of course, during the FTX stuff too, it's like I'm sure there's some I don't know, shady activity from even the sort of regulators, I imagine. So, and it's not a huge surprise that like sort of the more powerful Wall Street entities would be getting more and more interested in taking over crypto. And they're not gonna let this shit happen without getting their cut. Seems fair enough. And they basically chopped off my I mean, as a person in the US, I've basically had my crypto access wildly limited, and then I don't know what's going to happen with Binance. I mean, if they stick around, great. I'm sure somebody else will emerge. Like for the people that aren't in the US, we'll see what, in the next cycle, there'll probably be a new player. And that's kind of what I was saying about CZ earlier. It's like Binance sort of came out, my remembrance of it. And to be fair, I was sort of new to crypto during that time, but like, it kind of seemed like Binance just came out of nowhere. Like, and then just took over. I mean, I saw like when I first started crypto, Poloniex was sort of the main place to trade. And then Bittrex started kind of, and sadly, I guess Bittrex is finally closing up shop altogether. They kicked us off about like 5 or 6 months ago or whenever that was, a little longer. But I guess Bittrex is closing up shop. Anyway, Poloniex was a big thing back then, and then Bittrex became big, and then Binance was sort of growing during that time, and then just I don't know what it was like in like the other part of the world, but it sort of came on pretty damn fast. And then just next thing you know, CZ's like, God, just probably one of the richest people. I don't know. I mean, 18 billion. I don't know where that puts you on the list of most rich people. It's not. I mean, crazy enough. There's like practically trillionaires now, I think. So. But nonetheless, he seemed to make $18 billion pretty fast. So we'll see if somebody else emerges to sort of service the rest of the world if Binance does kind of not make it for some reason. But it seems like they probably will. I don't know. Geez, more tangents, I guess, from me today. I never really quite know where I'm going with all this stuff. Let's see. I started off by botching the whole intro. So I don't even know what I was saying for the 7 minutes I was on mute. I was talking about CZ. And so, yeah, sorry about that again. So I kind of screwed that up anyway. And then I guess now I'm about an hour and, I guess I've been talking for about an hour and 10 minutes after that. And I'll go and edit out that silence in the, or I don't know, I might not actually, just because then you got to re-upload it to YouTube and all that nonsense. It takes a little bit. I can do that. But I don't know. Hopefully I said something of value. I guess I still have tons more requests. I talked about some stocks. I kind of got sidetracked on my Coinbase point, but all I was saying is really is, unfortunately can't buy it, but damn, they look like they, it's got some momentum behind it. and they've got a lot of. They seem to be on the sort of side of Wall Street now, maybe I don't know, or the regulators, and they got off kind of like they were also involved in like a SEC thing. I think it's still ongoing, but it doesn't seem like they're really getting hammered for it. Even Kraken got fined like last year, maybe it was even this year, earlier in the year. Didn't they fine Kraken like pretty a large amount of money? It's like 30 million or something. I mean, I guess that's not a lot for like compared to Binance's 4.3 billion fine. But I remember they like dinged Kraken for doing what Coinbase seemed to be getting away with, which was just allowing you to like stake, like just whatever, like stake in altcoins. And even now, I just saw on Coinbase, there's still plenty of things you can stake. So I don't know why Kraken got in trouble, but Coinbase gets to just do the same thing because I now you can't, like I can't stake on Kraken. I don't think anymore. Um, but anyway, so so Coinbase seems to be the darlings. But that was the last point I wanted to make was the just remind everybody that the directors of Coinbase made out like bandits up here on the IPO here. They all sold this. I mean, I remember this was the market was pretty bullish here. Coinbase IPO was a big deal, and it was the first opportunity for like the directors of Coinbase to start unloading, and they sold a lot. And so they became like sort of the G's of the last cycle. They made a fortune, and I imagine they were. I never really saw much insider buying when I'd when I've looked for it for Coinbase. There wasn't tons of insider buying recently, but either way, the bottom looks like it's in. I mean, the only thing is just there is this like trend line kind of just acting as sort of a warning sign that maybe we're still in the downtrend and there's probably a higher low to be expected somewhere in here, maybe up against the trend line or even up as high as like 38.2s, but that's all the way up at $183. So there's a lot of room for this thing to just rip up here and still play around. But the more crypto starts bottoming in general, this is starting to look like a pretty solid, it looks like a head and shoulders, and the target would be, I don't know, somewhere up, in the kind of 50% levels. So it's kind of annoying. I don't know if I'll get to buy a second car here on Coinbase. But I'm, if I can, I think just have to draw reload zones and hunt, like I have here, like what is that? $63 is Mountain Man. I kind of hate even paying 63 because I bought it like 46 originally. 49, I think. So anyway, can't be buying Coinbase anytime soon. So, and then I guess I could leave one more crypto stock. I'll just mention that I kind of think is a Hail Mary that I don't know much about is this BitK, but I'm watching this one. I haven't done anything yet, but this is, I don't know. It's like I don't even know what it is. I don't know what they do specifically, but I mean, clearly it's involved in crypto. Blockchain is the name of the blockchain corp. But I just kind of like the location here. So it's just one that I've got on my eye. It's like a penny stock, it's in Canada only, and it's 7 cents. Well, sorry, I want to buy it at like 7 cents. It's at like 11 cents right now. I kind of like the idea of just, I was kind of looking at this gap going back here, and they've already touched that gap a couple times, and they've set up these equal lows. And I kind of think just, this is like a thin kind of like venture cap stock. Trading in Canada, and I think you could probably buy that level down there at like 7 cents, and then it doubles just like a move back to like right here. So it's kind of like a Hail Mary long shot. I'm not really I'm gonna not throw a ton of money at it, and I'm not really waiting for a W necessarily. I might just kind of buy it for the hell of it as like a long shot, because I mean, you can see the upside. If I can get long here at like 7 cents, and then crypto goes into a bull market, this thing, geez, I mean, even just like, 38.2s off of the lows here would be probably an insane move. Yeah, I mean, well, 90 cents. So yeah, like, pretty good. So yeah, like if you can get long from 7 and ride it up to 38.2 at 90, that's pretty good. So, but that's also like I would consider it's probably a super high risk. This thing could probably just go to zero overnight for whatever reason. I don't know. I've seen these it could just grind down into nothingness for the next year. even if crypto goes into a bull market. I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. So it's just one that looks like it's kind of making this long sideways channel here, and it's super cheap down against the old lows. So anyway, maybe I'll leave it at that unless somebody wants to throw any like last requests in. I do have a couple more that I never even got to, so I guess I could find one to pick to end with. Um, yeah, I got a country. Some David sent me some like sort of, I guess shit coins for better lack of a better, some like low coin count, smaller market cap looks like kind of names. We could check out a couple of those really quick. HNS is one. Handshake. So they're on Bittrex, but poor Bittrex, like I said, I guess they're gonna bite the bullet. So we'll look at it on CoinEx, which CoinEx was a exchange I was thinking about trying to sign up for about like 5 or 6 months ago, and then like I swear, like right after I started looking into it, they ended up KYCing all Americans. And I don't know. I mean, it's been around since like 2017 or 2018, if I remember correctly, but I don't know much about CoinEx. This one also falls into the category of probably like high risk, just total punt. You know, I mean, I don't even know HNS Handshake. I don't know what it is. I suppose we could look at it on CoinMarketCap. I already have that here. I'm sure it's probably down on the list of market cap. Yeah, so 11 million, 12 million market cap. I do like having a handful. I want to have a handful of these for some sort of like Hail Marys. I mean, I could see an 11, $12 million market cap getting quite a bit larger in a bull market. So who knows what it is? I won't go looking into that too much. Just wanted to see what the market cap was. And it does look like it has like 2 billion coins out, but is what it is. And I guess the fully diluted market cap is quite a bit higher. I don't know how much is circulating. Oh, so only 617 million circulating. So still got a lot of issuance for whatever that means. But so it seems like a small cap punt that only trades on the smaller exchanges. I don't see a W here. I see an FU where they kind of took out the equal lows. That's sort of like kind of what I was just talking about on that other one. Pretty good example of, they set up the equal lows here. Kind of, you could see the support building down there, and then they just washed those lows and took all the stops out before turning it back up. And this isn't really a W, but OBV is like sort of W'd out here, and it's trying, but I think waiting for more of a sideways channel would probably be fine. I mean, you can see it kind of bottoming out, but it hasn't quite started going flat. It'd be nice to see a little bit more consolidation here with a real W to buy, but I mean, clearly there's a ton of upside, so looks pretty good to me. I just don't think I can trade it. And I'll pick one more. I'll just pick one out of his list. Which thanks, David, for sending me these. I always appreciate it. And these all look like, I guess those are the market caps you have next to it. Yeah, 13M, 12M. So which one should I pick? I'll pick JUV, 13 million. This is a 13 million market cap. Trades on Binance, so that's cool. You guys might be able to get interested in this. And that looks kind of like a W, but yeah, look at that. So this one actually does have a nice W. I mean, it's not really like tradable in the sense that the breakout's way up here at the highs, but still has like a nice double bottom working with OBV. Nice divergences, actually. I mean, it didn't diverge. This is the low, actually, so we don't have a divergence from there to this low, but we do. Actually, we don't even have it right there either. But what we do have is just kind of general larger divergence. God, I'm losing the ability to talk. The divergence coming in all the way back there, from this low to new. We've been making new lows. Finally made the low here. OBV's just been pushing higher, and still is. There's even a big fat W in OBV here. So clearly the money's still just flowing into this as the bottom's coming in, which I love. And now it looks like we're pulling back into reload zones of a wider W. So it seems reasonable to just draw fibs and hunt. It's in the reload zone now. It's just a little bit below Mountain Man here at like 248. I mean, these are just like, this is sort of highly dependent on the rest of the market, I would imagine. This little low market cap shitcoin, like if in general the crypto market can keep bumping along the bottom and not really crapping out, then this thing probably has a pretty good chance. But if everything craps out, then this will probably just continue grinding lower. So again, this gets back into that correlated market thing. If we're just buying a bunch of these, we have to expect that we could get run over here. That's why you can't really look at it the same way as like, like a different type of trading plan. I mean, if you have a similar trading plan to ours, where it's like you might say something like, "I'm going to buy 100 of these, and I'm going to put 1% in them." You're basically taking one bet. You're just splitting it up 100 times. So, it's all going to kind of move together. So you don't want to overextend yourself inside of that. So this can only be a tiny chunk of what is already considered to be like a portion of your like net worth that you're willing to throw everything at crypto, like, that particular account. And so, yeah, like if we bought, like we could buy all of these on his list. He has like a couple more that probably look like this. If we bought all 5 of them, and they all kind of look like this here, and then the whole market craps out, we're probably going to, all of them are going to fall apart on us, and we're going to have to just wait till the next W. So I guess I'm just saying that because this looks really nice, but like, I don't know if the W's are going to hold here yet. We don't know. So you either take your shot or you don't. But to be fair, if I was going to buy a shitcoin, this is the exact kind of shitcoin I would want to buy. I mean, I love that it has this bottom here, but it also has a range established, that's marking sort of like the potential cycle bottom. We have this like key low back here that's now marking the bottom. And then also the dead cat bounce of that key low marked the top of the range. So we have this like nice bottoming range here established, and we're at the bottom of that range. So if we can just hold on to these lows a little bit, then doubles are just like moves back inside the range a little bit. If you could buy it at something like maybe like 220, just use a round number, that's 220s. Well, 220 exactly is 78.6 of that range. So, if you're taking your shot at 220 here, this is easily a fill I could see getting here in the next, post Thanksgiving dump. If we get it, the price will probably just dip right down against 78.6 and 88.6. So if you bought like 220 here, then your double's just kind of up, not even to the 50% level, it looks like, of the range. So if you're going to take a shot on something, this is the kind of thing I could see. It looks like you couldn't quite get a double to 38.2, but it's basically just below 50% level. So you don't even need to get back to the middle of the range to bang your double out. Basically, you just need some kind of bounce off of the reload zone here. And in general, like everything's pointing up here still. OBV's pointing up. It's pulling back a little bit with price right now, but it just put in another W and like a wider W. So I think there's reasons to think that it's not the worst idea. I suppose it's just if you lose these lows, then you might want to consider like, well, can I take 0.5% here and maybe buy another 0.5% when I get a solid W down below if we lose these lows? However you work it, just be mindful of the fact that, that these things, if you go buy 5 or 6 of these or even more and they all crap out, they're all going to either work or not, probably, for the most part. So anyway, wow, look at all that red here though. So this is I guess we're having a little pre-Thanksgiving dump here. It looks like based on the Binance news, perhaps. Maybe also just based on the fact that things have gotten a little bit overextended. I mean, there's some things that have really ripped. Probably starting to see things like maybe a little bit of overbought conditions on RSIs and stuff like that. If you want to go look at like daily charts, you could probably start seeing things that are like that Sia coin, for example, that's just kind of getting knocked back down today. If you went and looked at like RSI and stuff, you might see this thing getting a little overbought. But by all means, this is like a buy the dip kind of scenario. This isn't like when I look at this, like the pullbacks into this W is bullish to me, as opposed to like a situation, we're not in this kind of situation here where we're just probably going to continue to make lower lows here. Now we've got like a nice base to work from, and any pullbacks into like structural bottoms or buy opportunities. And I think the whole crypto market is basically like this. Try to avoid things that are still grinding straight down and look for things that actually have bottoms like this, like the ones I showed you. And we talk about almost every day in the group. Like I have one more on my list I didn't talk about. Filecoin is one that I was noticing is very viable right here. Well, I mean, potentially very viable, let's say, because I mean, it's got the W's, it's kind of like side coin here, right? Like, but you can see you can almost see this, it's setting up to touch reload zones. Just like it did here, like they brought it into reload zones and bounced it, and even again, and they're currently still bouncing it. So the reload zone back here, that location's still holding for the current bottom. And so any moves against this W are buy opportunities, in my opinion. And OBV's doing its best to W out here. So I don't know. Same story as recent. Hopefully, well, I shouldn't say hopefully. I say well, once again, Thanksgiving could be a little wild. So like we'll see what happens. Bitcoin's sitting in resistance, in my opinion, right now, or at least in a place where like 38.2s need to be resolved. And if that turns out to be bearish, kind of like the DXY has recently done, then we could expect like Bitcoin to easily pull back into like those old highs, for example. That's not even that big of a dip, just to get back against like, the sort of 32,000 area. That's just like probably like 38.2s off of this little range here or something. So, this, we'll see what happens here. Like any kind of M's up here, or even like 3-bar fractals firing might just suggest a little bit of a pullback that'll drag altcoins down into those buy levels. Something like Filecoin or Sidecoin will actually probably hit those breakout levels. So you got to just get ready and have your bids working. So I don't know. I'll keep talking about them. I'll keep posting ideas I try to post at least one a day in the general chat of our Discord community. So if you're not part of that community, you can just go to cryptotradersarena.com and join our Discord through there. And of course, we do a lot more too. In that free room, we have the Crypto Weekly Review that Paul and I do on Sundays, which we're basically just tracking a trading plan week to week. That's basically investing in altcoins. The whole plan is just an investment plan in like the larger market cap altcoins. So not so much like these little ones I was just talking about, but things like Link and whatever, top 100 market cap. And so we do that every Sunday at 16 UTC. And then, of course, on Tuesdays, we also have a live trading session for the New York session right around the New York Open that we meet every day. But on Tuesdays, we open that up to the public or anybody that's a member in our Discord community. So if you want to just kind of get a feel for how everybody's in there trading setups on a daily basis, a lot of crypto scalping, a little bit of traditional market day trading, mostly crypto scalping, I'd say, and day trading. And swing trading, actually, for that matter, but primarily focused on setups and just trying to work a trading plan and do that consistency thing I was talking about. A huge part of that is we meet Monday through Friday every day just to kind of keep consistent. Everybody shows up, and it's like a job. What can you say? It's just like a job. You got to be there if you want to do this. If you want to day trade, for example, like if you want to be a day trader, then obviously you'd need to have time to sit at your computer. So check that on Tuesdays. Also on Tuesdays during the London session, Stefan, one of the scalpers from the group, he's always live trading on Tuesdays. So you could also check that out. He usually, unfortunately, that's in the middle of the night for me, so I don't get to see it. But I know that he's in there finding trade ideas every week for that day. There's daily trade ideas. And so you can watch that on Tuesdays if you want to get a feel for his style. Completely, and it's like a lot different than my style. That's the thing, is we're all different, and he offers great insight into scalping both markets, really, like crypto and I think mostly the ES and NASDAQ futures is probably what he trades, I think, in the traditional market. So yeah, that's on every Tuesday around the London session. So plenty of things we're making here. And then of course, Paul really makes a daily plan video Monday through Friday around the London session every day for YouTube. So if you want to just get a feel for like, crypto that might be strong on the week or day, things that you might be able to trade, even like our THG algo on, I think he usually highlights some of those, and also just kind of sets the levels for the day. So if you're, trying to kind of learn the game of day trading, like, part of that game is just sort of getting your head straight every day and kind of trying to get a broader viewpoint on the market heading into your trading day. And so I think he does a pretty good job just kind of laying out levels for that. So yeah, that's it. And then of course, then you can join me on Tuesdays to just talk about God knows what I'm going to talk about, and also maybe just be on mute. So So if you want to just, I just want to talk about crypto in general here. Maybe try to dig up some of the future gems. Any of those, like even the ones I just talked about a minute ago, like uh, any of those could be the next 100x or down the road. So hopefully we can all as a team just kind of, I don't know, locate some good ones that have that kind of potential down the road, and hopefully get along on the bus with them, so that we don't have to stand and watch them go without us later on. So hopefully we can uncover some of those in this show, and then and who knows what else. I'll keep tracking the crypto stocks too, because I do think that's an awesome way to get exposure to crypto through the stock market, especially if you're in the US. And I'm going to keep trying to work that plan as well. And we'll just keep on keeping on. So thanks everybody for joining me. Somebody's saying total is breaking down. Well, let's see. So I'll end with total because we'll see what total's doing. I assume you mean total crypto market cap. Oh yeah, a little bit here, but I mean, you can see these ABCDs. I actually think this is a very bullish looking chart. So I'll end on the crypto. This is a bullish case for crypto in my opinion. I mean, if anything, I'd put these ABCDs in here, which I do think that's like potential traffic area. Like if we do get up into this like 1.6 trillion area, that's basically coming up against the old M breakdown here. So that's like resistance 38.2, a little bit above there. So resistance is up here, but I'm seeing like a head and shoulders in a reload zone here in general. And yeah, we're pulling back a little bit today, but just like Bitcoin, it's not a huge stretch to think we might come down and just check these old highs before potentially continuing higher. So, I mean, sure, it's coming off a little bit here, and to be fair, I don't know if OBVs, you can't really use OBV, I don't think here. In fact, I always find it weird that it's even calculated. I don't know where the volume is being calculated for this, but anyway, point being, that kind of looks like a big old head and shoulders to me. It's a little steep and pointing up, but it kind of looks like crypto wants to at least visit up here in the dump chaser zone, 1.6 trillion and higher down the road. So we'll see, but it might mean that, if we are going to get lower prices into the end of the year, maybe we do. It'd be nice to just come back against, there's a little W down in here, kind of where my line's drawn there. Maybe pullbacks into that area are enough to let us load up on altcoins, and then sort of into next year, getting closer to the halving, this turns back up again, and then sort of bull market maybe happens and we start seeing, moves up higher. But in general, this looks relatively bullish. I mean, it looks a lot like Bitcoin. It just hasn't quite made it to 38.2. So yeah, it's breaking down on the week, but I don't know. Sci-fi, yes, mate. Oh, you're sci-fi probably. Well, welcome. Anyway, I'm probably starting to drag on a little too long, so I'll just leave it at that and just know that I put another one of these shows under my belt saying God knows what. And I will keep on keeping on. So I'll be back next Tuesday. I have no plans on stopping this. I'm going to kind of like our other show, basically just ride this thing into the next euphoric top. So we'll see what things look like a year from now and 2 years from now, whenever that might come. And maybe I'll have done a bunch of these. I think we're up at 50, episode 47 or something on our other show. So means most of the year is behind us now. And, same with that show and this show. We'll just see I have every intention on being the same every week. I'm going to just keep trying to buy these weekly W's. I'm going to keep to my thesis that I think that, it's not just my thesis. I mean, most people I know that are good at this have a similar take. It's not like I'm the only person saying this, but I think, just in general, we're putting in a really nice looking bottom here that might hold. If it doesn't hold, then the next bottom is probably not too far behind, even if we have to do some sort of massive dip in crypto. Because I mean, never underestimate the possibility for a 30% rip to your altcoin bags overnight or some shit. I mean, that can happen at any moment. So it's not like we can be free of that. But if that happened, I would just see that as just a sort of a last ditch capitulation. Probably an awesome buy opportunity if we do see any kind of deep pullbacks in like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and altcoins get murdered at that point. But if that's the case, then nothing changes in my thesis. It's just like, well, we'll wait for the next W and try to buy that one too, and just see how we do by the time this thing truly goes into an uptrend here, where, you know, like right here in total, we have a break in structure. I mean, that's what a head and shoulders is, a reversal pattern, right? So if this is a reversal pattern that just broke out, then essentially what we're saying is now we have like a key low down here, and we have a high, and then we had a higher low, and now we've taken out the key high. So we have a change in market structure, and we're making a, higher high now. And then we could, maybe start making a lower high, or sorry, a higher low. And then, this is what an uptrend looks like, right? So this looks like the beginnings of an uptrend to me, more than the exact opposite, where we, the exact opposite happened here, where we, made a key low, dead cat bounced, took out that key low and made a lower low and went into a full-on bear market. This looks a lot more based to me. So I think in general, this is just, there's no reason. I mean, yeah, there's bigger economic conditions and rising interest rates and and I don't want to try to figure out the nuances of all that. But I just simply would say, like, I think there's a pretty good chance that things are going to just kind of continue to be the same, which is this cyclical pattern that happens with around the Bitcoin halving. So like, I'm not calling for new Bitcoin highs, or I'm not calling for like $1 million Bitcoin, or making any wild claims. In fact, the only claim I'm really making is when I look at something like this, it looks like the bottoming phase is in progress. Like, so I have to think like a trader and think that this is my time to buy here, and look for the beginning of this uptrend to start. And like when I, pull up something just off the top of my head, like Zen, and I see, and there's probably, maybe Zen's better to look at on like Binance or something, but there might be a better history here. That's a weird chart. Yeah. And geez, why does it keep doing that? Anyway, and I'll try to I'm probably just maybe being repetitive, but I'm just trying to make my point, I suppose. This was from the course we were talking about, this KOBV, my brilliant name. This is my setup, KOBV. And this is a perfect example, but all I'm going to say here is when we, as a person that's trying to, my plan says that I want to take advantage of the cyclical nature of altcoins, and I want to use this sort of pattern behavior around the Bitcoin halving to time to get my timing straight. But most of all, I'm just going to let the market tell me when the time to be interested is. And I'm going to do that by using fibs for location. And I'm going to look for previous market structure bottoms in the last cycle and look for price to come down against that, So those are two different location reasons that I could use. And then I'm going to look for sort of this like saucer bottom, or long rounded out bottom, which usually on the front side of that bottom starts setting up potential OBV divergences, just like this. And so, this is that, you can see the saucer bottoms in progress. We're like sort of to the other half of it already. We're kind of past the bottom now. And during this first part of the bottom, we get our divergences in, and then slowly but surely you start seeing W's coming in. And then of course now, like, there's a couple W's you could buy. We're below the sort of chasey W, and we're coming down into this other little W, and, we're back against the previous W. So all I'm getting at here is when I see this and I think about that halving cycle, and I think that we've been through a 2-year bear market that's now sort of starting to not look so bearish anymore, then I have to, I don't know, I have to like kind of just start thinking that the probability is that we'll at least see some sort of bullish momentum into the halving like normal. And so now, to be fair, like maybe there has to be a new bottom somewhere. I don't know yet, but generally speaking, when I just look at that, that's like, this is exactly where I want to be a buyer of anything, whether it's a stock or crypto. Like when I see this exact thing playing out. So like this didn't happen back here, so there wasn't any reason to buy right here. And of course, you see what happened on the other side. even right here, there's not truly a W. There kind of was one. I can't remember if that actually W'd. Even that, they sort of told you here, right? Because they didn't put in the W there. And then they put in a little one. And sure, if you were trading that move, you certainly weren't getting doubles off, but you're close. And even still, if you had bought that W there and didn't get your double and then had to take some heat, you're still just kind of in the trade, likely to get your double anyway. So point being, I'm just going to keep making these shows and probably saying the same thing, and we'll just see what happens to this chart like a year from now. Like maybe it's hard to picture it, but I could see it being up in sort of $50 area. Like I could draw 38.2s off of the highs and just sort of say, well, if the market can actually point, if this reversal is real and we can actually start trending higher here, then there's not really a huge stretch to think that like, $68 could be like a bull run that's not even like new highs kind of bull run, just that's a big move. That's 5 or 6x back to 38.2. So if that sounds appealing to you in the sense of if you can wrap your mind, like if you think about like if you just think about this as like an auction and you're like, okay, well, if I was at an auction, this looks like, if I was trying to buy this to resell it down the road, looks cheap to me compared to past price history. And it looks like it's actually sort of stabilized down here and the panickiness is over. I mean, I don't know. If you can't see that this would be the better time to be thinking about buying this than somewhere like up here, then, if you can see that why this is appealing, then hopefully you're at least a little bit like tuned in to wanting to pay attention right now. I mean, if you're watching this, so now's just the time to act, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I think the odds are starting to tip a little bit more in our favor here with these kind of W's coming in. So keep that in mind, and we'll see what happens here. We'll see if we get a dump into the end of the year. We'll see if we can buy some of these pullbacks, and then we'll see what happens on the other side as the Bitcoin halving gets closer next April. Well, it's in next April or May. So anyhow, geez, that was a long way to end the show, but I don't have any like awesome goodbyes to say after that, but I'll just leave it at this, and join me next week if you want. And if you have names to look at, let me know. Feel free to DM me anything too. And I'll see you guys, for any members, I'll see you guys tomorrow in the New York session. And then I'm going to take the rest of the week off after that, I suppose. And so have a good holiday if you guys are in in North America at least, or at least in the US. I think Canada, Thanksgiving is a different day. But nonetheless, if you are in the US, then happy Thanksgiving and have a good holiday. And I'll be back on Sunday with Paul for the public here, a Crypto Weekly Review show. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. You guys have a good rest of your evenings or wherever you are in the world, and I will talk to you all soon. So goodbye.